Remember AI? When it was all about chess matches and writing weird poems? Well, buckle up, because AI is about to get a lot more real world.
Yeah, we're talking about ditching the ivory tower and heading straight for the factory floor.
Exactly. We're diving deep into the world of industrial automation today. Specifically, some seriously cool stuff coming out of Vention. They've been making waves in manufacturing for a while now.
And they just wrapped their Demo Day 2024 event, right?
Yeah, and let me tell you, they dropped some AI bombshells.
Big things are happening.
Luckily, we've got some great sources to guide us. Excerpts from not one, but two leading publications, AI Business and IoT World Today, both covering this story.
And it's not just hype. Vention's announcements, they really point towards, I think, a seismic shift in how factories operate, what it'll take for businesses to use cutting-edge robotics, that kind of thing.
Okay, so let's unpack it. First up, Vention unveiled something called MachineMotion AI. They're calling it the brains behind a new generation of smart robots.
Basically, imagine a system that can control everything on your factory floor. Robots, conveyors, the works. But here's the real kicker. Vention wants to make this level of automation accessible, even for those smaller manufacturers who, might think advanced robotics are out of their league, financially speaking.
That's huge, right? It's
Yep.
like they're breaking down the barriers between the big guys and the little guys,
No.
leveling the playing field, so to speak.
Exactly. And the tech behind it is no joke either. They're using NVIDIA's Jetson platform, which is, top of the line in industrial AI.
They're not messing around.
Not at all. By using NVIDIA, they're making sure this isn't some watered down AI, this is the real deal industrial grade automation, but accessible. And for those smaller manufacturers, this could be revolutionary. It could empower them to really compete on a different level.
And who knows what kind of innovation we'll see when you give these tools to more people. Really exciting stuff. And the best part, this isn't some distant future we're talking about. This is happening now.
Right?
MachineMotion AI, it's available for pre-order now, with delivery slated for early 2025.
Yeah.
We can see this tech in factories in less than a year.
It just goes to show how fast things are moving in the manufacturing world. And it's not just about hardware either. Vention also announced some serious upgrades to their software suite, Machine Builder and Machine Logic specifically.
And this is where things get even more interesting, right? These tools were already pretty impressive, helping manufacturers design and actually program their machines,
But now they've added generative AI to the mix.
which changes everything, really.
It really does. But to understand why, it helps to break down what each tool actually does. So let's take Machine Builder. This is like your digital sandbox for designing automated systems, building them from scratch.
Okay, I'm picturing it. You're laying out your robotic arm, figuring out how it all fits together, all virtually.
Right. And with generative AI, it becomes this super intuitive design partner. It can suggest parts as you work, almost like having an expert looking over your shoulder.
It's like having a brainstorming buddy, but that buddy also happens to be a robotics genius.
Exactly. And then you have Machine Logic, which is all about programming those designs, breathing life into them. And now, thanks to generative AI, it can help you write code in Python, no less.
Okay, so break that down for me. How does that actually work in practice?
So say you want your robot arm to pick up a specific object, right?
Right.
Move it to a different spot, instead of writing every single line of code yourself.
Which can be incredibly tedious, not to mention difficult if you're not a coding whiz.
Exactly. Machine Logic's AI can actually generate those code snippets for you, based on what you tell it to do, of course. It streamlines the entire process, especially for those who aren't fluent in Python.
So in the future, you wouldn't need a whole team of software engineers just to program these complex automated tasks.
Potentially not, yeah.
Wow. That is a game changer for a lot of companies. And it goes back to Vention's goal of democratizing this technology, making it accessible to everyone.
Right, and it's not just about making it affordable, but also making it easier to actually use, lowering that barrier to entry.
Which leads to a really interesting question. What happens when everyone has access to this level of automation, this AI?
It's a big question. It's not even just about individual companies anymore. It has implications for entire industries, the global stage even. We could be talking massive economic shifts.
A whole new world order for manufacturing.
Potentially. And speaking of a new world order, we should probably talk about the geopolitical side of all this. Because this technology doesn't exist in a vacuum, right?
Right. Things just got very interesting.
The country that figures out AI and automation, they're going to be in a very powerful position.
It's like a whole new kind of superpower. Not about military might anymore, but about who controls the tech, the manufacturing.
Exactly. It could even change global supply chains as we know it. Imagine a country that can make everything. Microchips, airplanes, whatever.
Yeah.
Faster and cheaper than anyone else.
They have all the cards when it comes to international trade and things.
For sure. They could dictate terms, set prices, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, this is getting intense. It's like we've zoomed out from the factory floor to a satellite view of Earth, and we're watching the power dynamics shift right in front of us.
That's a great way to put it.
But before we get too far down that road, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive into the global power dynamics at play here. What this whole tech arms race could mean for the future of, well, everything. Don't go anywhere.
It's exciting stuff, isn't it? All this new tech. But like you were saying before the break, it's not just about what happens on the factory floor. This has much bigger implications, right?
Yeah, it's like we zoomed out from the factory and now we're looking at the whole planet, seeing how this AI manufacturing revolution could change everything. Who has the power, who benefits? It's a whole new ballgame.
Absolutely. Think about it. The country that cracks the code on AI and automation, the one that can design, manufacture, implement, all of it, faster, cheaper, at scale, they're going to be in the driver's seat.
It's like a new kind of superpower, almost. Not about armies and weapons anymore, but about who controls the tech, who controls the factories.
Exactly. Imagine a country that can produce anything. Microchips, airplanes, you name it. And they can do it more efficiently and for less money than anyone else. Think of the power they would have.
They would basically control the global supply chain, wouldn't they? Dictate terms and trade deals, set prices.
It'd be a whole new world, economically speaking, and not just economically either. This kind of manufacturing dominance could easily translate into geopolitical influence.
How so?
Well, imagine a country refusing to sell certain technologies or products to another country as a way to, exert pressure or to get what they want in a negotiation.
It's already happening with things like semiconductors, right?
Yeah.
There's so much global tension over who controls that supply chain. But this is potentially way bigger. We're talking about practically every industry being impacted.
It's huge. And we're not even just talking about who's ahead in the race right now. This is about how AI and automation could completely reshape the global power structure in the long term. The old power centers might not be the power centers anymore.
So the whole global chessboard gets shaken up. New players emerge. It's like a whole new world order, like you said. It's a lot to take in.
It is. And we haven't even touched on the national security aspect of all this.
Okay, that's really interesting. How does national security tie into all of this?
Well, imagine you're a country that depends on another country for, let's say, military equipment, weapons, technology, that kind of thing. And then suddenly, that other country becomes a powerhouse in AI-driven manufacturing. They don't need you anymore.
Suddenly, the balance of power shifts dramatically.
Right. Alliances that were strong for decades could fall apart. You might see countries scrambling to invest heavily in AI just to keep up. It could turn into a whole new kind of arms race, really.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
These announcements from Vention, they're not just about cool new gadgets. It's like we're witnessing the start of a massive technological and geopolitical shift. The world's changing right before our eyes.
It really is. And it's going to impact all of us no matter where we live or what we do for a living. No one's immune to this.
Okay, so we've established the stakes are incredibly high.
Yeah.
But for a moment, let's bring it back down to earth. Back to those factories. How is all this going to impact the actual workers, the people who are in those factories every day? So we've talked about these huge changes, global power shifts, right? The economy, all that. But at the heart of it all, you have the everyday workers, the ones actually on those factory floors. How is all of this going to impact them as AI starts doing more and more?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that sparks a lot of debate. I mean, there are definitely people who are worried, robots taking jobs, leading to unemployment, that sort of thing. It's understandable to worry.
And we've seen it happen before, right? Industries being disrupted, jobs lost because of automation. It's not like this is totally new territory.
You're right, but it does feel different this time around. It's not just about replacing human strength with machines. This is about AI, augmenting what humans can do, taking it to a whole new level.
So instead of humans versus machines, it's more like, what? Humans and machines working together as a team.
Exactly. Like a partnership. We bring our human skills to the table. Creativity, problem solving, thinking on our feet. And the AI, it brings its strengths, precision, speed, and the ability to analyze tons of data, way more than we ever could.
So it's like each side covers the weaknesses of the other. You end up with a team that's way stronger than either one could be on their own.
That's the idea. It could even free up human workers. Let them step away from those repetitive tasks, the dangerous ones even, and let them focus on something more stimulating, something that requires more thought.
We could see a big demand for jobs that require critical thinking, creativity, complex problem solving. Things AI, at least for now, can't really do as well as humans.
Absolutely. And that's where education and training come in. We need to make sure workers have the skills to succeed in this new world. And it's not just about teaching people how to code a robot. It's about those uniquely human skills.
It's about building a workforce that can roll with the punches, adapt to new tech, and constantly be learning. It's a huge task, though. It's not just on individual people, but entire education systems, our training programs, even just what we as a society think a good career looks like. All of that needs to evolve, too.
It's a huge shift, but I am cautiously optimistic. If we approach this strategically, make sure we're investing in education and training, and if industries, governments, and schools all work together.
Then maybe, just maybe, we can create a future where AI in manufacturing leads to more opportunities, not less. A future where our jobs are more engaging, more fulfilling, more human even.
I love that. A future that's more human. That's what we should be aiming for. And these technologies are only developing faster, so these are conversations we need to have now.
It's not like the future's already decided for us. We're creating it right now, every day, with the choices we make. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into AI and the future of manufacturing. We've covered a lot of ground today. Smart robots, generative design tools, global power dynamics, what this means for everyday workers, even what it means to be human in an age of increasingly intelligent machines.
It's a lot to process. But if there's one thing I hope our listeners take away from this, it's that this is a time of incredible possibility. We're on the edge of something truly remarkable.
It's going to challenge us, for sure. Make us rethink what we thought we knew. But ultimately, it's going to reshape the world.
For sure.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep your minds open to the possibilities.